country is a dark and divided place, but now there's hope, and it's spreading.
This is your home, and I want you to tell all your friends about it.
Let's hit it.
All right, Brent and Jon, I'm really excited to talk to you about Jesus Revolution. I watched it last night, and I absolutely loved it. I mean, it was just not just like real dramatic, but it was also like comedic at times, and it just felt like a good coming of age story altogether. And with so much going on, it was such a fantastic film.
Man, thanks for saying so. We appreciate that.
I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, it's every film, has its inspiration. To me, sort of the whole film library and spirit of Cameron Crowe was sort of we wanted to, it's like sort of an homage to that sense of optimism and coming of age. And I just thought the story was so interesting and untold. And it was, I think it's sort of an important allegory, today of like, I love what Brent says of like, he did the project because it's about loving, the other side basically. And it was just a film with a lot of heart and a lot of humor, and I'm really proud of the film that we got to make.
Yeah, I mean, I never even heard of this whole Jesus Revolution thing. I think I've read maybe little tidbits, during my college days, but I never got the full story. So it was interesting to see this whole story play out. But how did you guys get involved? Like, how did this all come about with working with Greg Laurie on this? Because it's based on his story.
I'll take. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it. No, go for it.
I was going to say, yeah, this is really Jon's brainchild. We worked on a movie together in 2015 called Woodlawn. And in the middle of all that, Jon saw this psychedelic Jesus painting on a Time magazine. He's like, what is this? And it said Jesus Revolution on the title. And so he couldn't find it digitally archived anywhere. So he ended up ordering a collector's edition copy for like $150 off eBay. And when he read this article, he came into us that morning and he said, guys, this is the next movie. We have to do this. And I started doing research on it. At the time, Jon was developing a really cool relationship with Greg Laurie. So they're really close buddies. And it just all came together as we did the research. The story got deeper and deeper and deeper and more lush, and more pieces were, we were finding, it's like digging an archaeological dig. Every like book I would read or article or doc I would watch, there was some extra piece to bring into this. And Jon Erwin and John Gunn, a director buddy of ours, wrote the script, and it's just this beautiful ensemble cast, and there's something for everybody in this story. And it really is uplifting. It really is about love, and people from all walks of life can get on this ride and enjoy it. And we loved our cast and our crew, and the cast especially brought a lot of comedy to this thing that was very beautiful and also unexpected at times. And so, yeah, man, it's been a cool journey. This movie tried to break down 2 or 3 times. So this is the 3rd time we actually loaded up to make it. During COVID, it got shut down. It got shut down one time prior. And I'm very grateful because when it came around the 3rd time, I was available in my schedule. And I feel really grateful to have been able to co-direct this one with Jon.
You said it right. I haven't even thought about that. It's been basically 7 years since I saw that Time magazine while we were doing Woodlawn, and then I went to I had a bunch of old sort of story archives, and there was Brent's original research that he had done before the movie I Can Only Imagine, and so it's interesting. This is the first time I've spent this long on a project and just got obsessed with it. And just, as a Christian, reading that magazine, being like, man, this is what we need. We need to return to this sort of essence, and then, man, what a similar time. Like, if there's any sort of glimmer, it's that, in America, we've been sort of where we are right now before, and I think the late 60s was just a very, very eerily similar time of despair. And that's when this happened. And so, I think that it gave me a lot of hope. But this is the first time with projects like I Can Only Imagine and American Underdog, and even I Still Believe, there's been other producers that have had the rights and have stayed with those projects for years. And we sort of come in and are very good at getting things going. But this is the first time that I've been that producer, and just stuck with something. And but when something's a splinter in your mind like this, and you can't stop thinking about it, and you can't stop researching it, I just think the Jesus movement, the Jesus revolution, as Time Magazine called it, has not been really ever explored or given its due for the impact it made on American society for the better. And so it's fun to sort of be do an archaeological dig, find something and bring it to people.
That's awesome. And yeah, you mentioned the cast. The cast was great in this, especially Joel Courtney as Greg. I mean, here he is. He changes the most. I felt he goes from being this timid. He was like this timid guy going to the military, and then as he meets, everyone, he starts to change, and we see him fully growing into this now more confident type person. And I felt like it was something similar to what he did in the Kissing Booth films. He was the timid kid, and then by the third film, he's gained this self-confidence. But here he is, he does a full 180 here. He's now like proud of what he's doing, and even though he has issues with his girlfriend's dad, he finally stands up for what he believes in, and he did a great job on that in that role.
I've loved Joel ever since Super 8, man.
Yeah.
Like we both were geeking out. That was his first audition. How old was he, Brent? He was like 13, 14, I don't know.
13 or 14, 13. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's such a great kid. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Joel's all grown up, but it's absolutely a coming of age story, and a story about self-discovery and discovering your purpose and discovering your place in the world. Mm-hmm. And I've watched it with a couple of large audiences of like college kids, and it's amazing. I've never seen groups of people cheering during a film, but a lot of that's because of the love story. And I think we all just want to know that we have a purpose and place in the world, and a role to play, and a means by which we can contribute, and the film is full of those themes about finding yourself and finding your value and finding your purpose,
Yeah. And I like Jonathan's role as Lonnie, because he comes, I love his intro scene with Allie, because he just comes in, he's just like, he looks like this total hippie, something Matthew McConaughey could have played, because it reminded me of something he would have done. But here he goes, he's like the one, him and Chuck get together and start this whole movement. But, as we see towards the end, Lonnie sort of starts getting a little attention getting, like he feels like some of the attention's getting away to him. So he's like, I feel like he's being a little desperate, but at the same time, he still believes like he's the prophet, in his mind. But Jonathan did a tremendous job on that. He really brought that spirituality to the role.
Yes, he was amazing. Again, bragging on Jon Erwin. He was Jon Erwin. We call him number one, but like you're first person you want in this role, and you're going to go as hard as you can for this person. And so we got all of our number ones on this for cast. And so Jon Erwin, I think wanting Jonathan for that role was amazing. And Jonathan, he's one to watch, man. He's going to have a very long, storied career playing a bunch of different characters, but he cared about Lonnie so much. He would talk to me about Lonnie sometimes, and tears would roll down his face. He was so caring about the role, and that we don't have time to get into everything he did to invest in the role, but he went through a transformative process to get ready to play Lonnie. It was amazing to watch him do it. And he's just a fine actor, and he did an amazing job. And for the Chosen fans out there, it'll be fun to see him doing something, different than what they're expecting,
Yeah, exactly. And Kelsey Grammer, I can't say enough about him. That guy's a legend, and he was great as Chuck.
When you can do Frasier and Macbeth, that is range, and yeah. And I felt that's and Brent is absolutely right. When we remounted the project, we got all of our first choices, and I really felt it was a role for Kelsey, because you wanted the natural humor, because there's so much humor in this square pastor opening his doors to the hippies. At the time, the church in aggregate was like the path for a hippie back into a religious context, and church was like, go home, run away, take a bath, cut your hair, mm-hmm. get a job, rejoin society. Now maybe you can come to church. And Chuck just threw his doors open to this group of people that he didn't really understand. And so there was so much natural humor from that, but it was also this spark that created this nationwide revolution. And so, there was so much of him changing as he was watching the way these hippies were just loving each other, and loving other people. And so Kelsey had that range, and he played it with so much heart and so much curiosity and so much vulnerability. He is an incredible actor. And every scene where he and Jonathan are, against each other, it was like just watching magic. I mean, they were truly spectacular together. And I'm very, very, very proud of the authenticity of the performances in the movie, and the boldness in exploring one of the great themes of the movie is that, we're all flawed people. And there's not a perfect character in this story, and yet they were all caught up in this perfect moment in time together, and a moment in time that's sort of, as Steve Jobs would say, dented the universe a little bit, and that gives me great hope. I think a lot of people in a church context think, well, I'm not talented enough, I'm not good enough, I've done this or that, so I'm just going to sit on the sidelines. And I hope this story really challenges that lie, frankly, that we all actually have a role to play, and we all have a gift, and we all have a purpose, and some of the joy of life is finding those things, and you're not disqualified from that, and that's what I love about the story. So the way the actors really portrayed their flaws, but also their commitment beyond those flaws is really, really cool.
That's awesome. So you mentioned it took like 7 years to get this project off the ground with everything going on. So how long did shooting take? And on this third try, were there any complications during production that felt like?
Well, I mean, with any
Always.
film,
John's face, I guess by John's face, I kind of just put this like, okay.
well, I mean, with any film, it's going to try to fall apart on you. But amidst all of the times it did try to fall apart, it just really felt very guided, and it was a very joyous movie. The morale was very high, and there were tears on set sometimes just watching the footage get printed down. I mean, there was definitely a feeling that we were making something really special together. And I'll let John talk about some of the craziness, but we had, believe it or not, we shot most of this movie in Mobile, Alabama. We had some palm trees down there, and the bay was very pretty. But we needed to do it because of the tax incentive program in Alabama to save a lot of money and, actually bring this movie in on time and budget. But we had to deal with tornadoes and some crazy stuff. So we actually had our production for the first time in my career. I don't know about John, but we had to stop. We run everything on big generators, and the weather system got too close to our set, and they had to unplug the generators, and everything just went dark, and they told everybody to go home and shelter in place. So we had some crazy stuff happen for sure. John, you want to add anything to that?
I mean, filmmaking is constant crisis mitigation. I mean, that's what I mean. If you want to know what, there's different jobs. There's the job of the writer, the job of the director, the job of the producers on the film. But producing is like, if you've ever seen Matt Damon in The Martian, that's producing. Like, what do I have to solve today to just not die? And so, of course, the film's like that. But I found actually that that the best ideas come from the most unexpected things on a set, and those times that are most stressful. And I think what we made the commitment to with this film was to invest as much as we could in the world, to get as much scope as we could, and therefore shoot less days. So if you think, I've been trying to, been iterating on this research, and then, thinking it was a Kickstarter, then a documentary, and then a series, and then landing on a film, and then, and over the years. And then we in earnest wrote the scripts, and that was a year, and then, but you make the movie, and we shot it in 26 days, which is by film standards very fast. But I think there's just a brilliance in not being able to second guess your instincts and solving problems. And Brent's right. He brought a great spirit to the film. But the most fun I've had, most meaningful and fun experiences I've had making a movie in just a long, long time. It was a wonderful group of people. Everyone dedicated themselves to the purpose behind the movie, and we just had so much fun. And there were so many moments that took our breath away, way more on this movie, and I think that comes through the screen a little bit. Even the baptisms, we went back to where those baptisms actually happened, and you could just feel it in the air. There was just a sense of renewal and power, and so it was. I called this shoot "Death to the Body, Life to the Soul." We worked some crazy hours, and we didn't leave anything out on the field. But man, was it fulfilling as an experience! I had an incredible time on this movie with just a wonderful group of people.
Well, I
Me too.
hope people do get to check this movie out. And I understand there's a special preview coming February 22nd. Where is that going to be held? For anyone?
February 22nd. It's in 2,000 theaters all across America. Wednesday night, where there's 10 minutes of bonus content, behind the scenes from the film, a special message by Greg Laurie, and then it opens nationwide on the 24th with Lionsgate. And I'm so honored and amazed that Lionsgate would let us make this movie, first of all, and then also, in the climate that we're in, put it in, release it wide in theaters across America. So, we want to prove them right as an audience, and so go check it out. Yeah, special access 22nd. Wide on the 24th.
That's awesome. Well, I hope everyone gets to see Jesus Revolution. This is a fantastic movie. I'm recommending it to everyone out there. You all need to see this. And it's a great true story. It's a great coming of age story. It has so much going on, but you're going to love it. And Jon and Brent, thank you so much again for taking the time to talk about the movie. And I hope it becomes a success.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
All right. You guys take care.
You too, man.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.